Good afternoon, people. Jumping back on here again. Quite a lot's happened since the last time. Goes without saying, hope you're all well and safe and keeping safe in light of what's still going on around us. Going to cover a few bits and pieces today. Some of it you might agree with me, some of it you might not. That's the whole idea of jumping on here and kind of getting things off my chest. So we've had a big spike in the coronavirus in certain areas. We still have the kind of country split between those that just want to kind of do what they've been asked to do, carry on as normally as they can to try and make this end as quick as it can. You also have the morons that are still in denial that anything's actually happening. There's nothing wrong. They don't need to do any of this. They're not going to be told what to do. It's just a control mechanism by the government that for some reason the whole world has decided to jump in on and join in. So these conspiracy theorists honestly think that every country in the world has got together to agree to lie about people dying in their country from COVID-19 as an ends to a means for a bigger picture kind of thing. Which, if you kind of think about it, there's a lot of countries out there that have never done what we've asked them to do in the past. So why on earth are they going to jump on board with this? Is beyond me. But kind of let's get in and around it then. So we've had for a few weeks now this kind of 10 p.m. closing of hospitality. The world and his wife that like to moan about these things are jumping on Twitter, using social media, going on the TV to say that these measures don't work. This curfew doesn't work, to use a phrase by Piers Morgan. Just as a kind of a point to Piers Morgan, it's not a fucking curfew. All it is hospitality has to shut at 10. A curfew would be telling everyone they had to be home by 10. So to go on Twitter and say, oh, the government have got it wrong again, this curfew's not working. Well, there isn't a curfew, that's why you muppet. He uses every single opportunity to say that everything's being done wrong. Doesn't get behind anything, but is quick to point out to people when they do something wrong of their error, and moans about the fact that these measures aren't working when his own son broke COVID rules and quite blatantly, and he backed him for it. So you can't jump on Twitter and moan that not enough's being done to stop this, but then pat your son on the back for breaking the rules that everyone else is trying to abide by, and most people are trying to abide by. So you can fuck off your high horse, mate. As far as I'm concerned, I'm fed up of celebrities or non-celebrities jumping on social media telling people how bad they are when they're in no position to lecture us. When you look at things they've done, taking Morgan for an example, this is a man that rooted through the dustbins of a family of a child that had been murdered just to try and find some extra stuff to put in his newspaper. This is a man that faked videos of the army torturing people just to put in articles in his newspaper. So this is the kind of like the mentality of the man. This is the character of the man that wants to then lecture us about our morals and lecture the government about how they're dealing with things. So I take everything he says with a pinch of salt. The guy's a moron. Talking of morons, obviously the moron brigade are out in force again. They will be this afternoon. I'd stay off social media if I were you. Now they've just made this announcement about the 3-tier system for COVID compliance. We're going to have so many people jumping online saying it's not fair. Why can't we have money for this? Why can't we have money for that? Where are they thinking that all this money is going to come from? That all these people need extra money and we need money for this and money for that. Where's it coming from? The fact is it's going to come from somewhere, but it's going to need to be put back. And I think we all know where that's going to come from when it comes to a time we've got to put it back. It's going to be people working, paying extra income tax. That's where it's going to be. So don't be so quick to jump in and keep asking them for money after money after money, because that money's got to go back somehow. So in the long run, we're going to be worse off. I still don't understand certain big businesses saying that, you know, by shutting an hour earlier, it's crippling their business. It's not. It's just a way of trying to get a bit more money, squirrel it away, which they really should have squirreled away money in the first place to cover. Surely, when they have quiet periods, businesses should be putting money away to cover quiet periods. If they haven't got that money in place, that's their fault. It's not up to the government to bail them out for that. So, you know, we've got this 10 p.m. hospitality closing. Obviously, people are jumping in there saying it's not working and we should just close the pubs and close the restaurants and everything else because that's what's drove this infection rate up. It isn't. Pubs and hospitality opened up around about the beginning of July. Infection rates and positive tests started jumping up towards the end of August, beginning of September and into September. So that's about 2 months where we didn't have anything, and then all of a sudden it's kicked off. But I tell you what it did coincide with. It coincided with allowing graduates and people to go back to university. I don't think it's the schools to blame. Anyone who's got a child that goes to school at the moment knows that schools are so compliant with the COVID guidelines. Unis aren't. They don't give a monkeys. They're just after getting as much money as they can from the money from the halls and stuff like that, and that kind of thing. That they really didn't care about the situation as a bigger picture. So to allow thousands across the country to go back to university and then allow them to mix in massive groups for these, you know, first couple of weeks of their stay at the university for like these freshers balls and a freshers rave, to condone that, to sit back as an organisation or you know, to run universities, to allow students to do that in light of what's going on, just shows how stupid they are. It's not the government's problem. The government maybe were a bit naive to think that students would go back and just get their head down and not be stupid, but a lot of people that do go to university don't go there for the real reasons. They just go there for another 2 years to stay out of working, have a bit of a laugh, maybe a bit of education thrown in, but most of it is just one long piss up. And this year it's a bit different. So if they're having they had these mass gatherings in a lot of these unis, and now the infection rate has gone up in the areas where the unis are, you've got to feel sorry for the people who live there, because they've probably been compliant, and then these morons have had their ball. We know that it's got to have been happened inside universities, because to have that amount of people in one place drinking and not adhering to social distancing, it couldn't happen in a pub. Pubs wouldn't be allowed to have it, and the pubs would be shut by 10 anyway. So these events that have caused this spread amongst students must have happened within university campus. So the people who run the university must have been aware of this. There's no way you could have a big event of that kind and not be aware of it. So they sat back and let this happen. So if you want to blame someone a bit more, blame the people that run the universities for allowing the students to have these mass get-togethers that have spread the virus. I can't see why, before they sent them back to uni, a sensible thing would have been that anyone attending a university should have had to have had a COVID test before they went, to make sure if they were positive or not. If they were positive, they would have to stay at home and do the social distancing and then be allowed to go to uni. If they had a negative result, then they should have been allowed to go to uni, but then when they got to uni, a 14-day quarantine period when they got to uni as well. Just to kind of make sure that people weren't taking the infection from one area and spreading it to another, which is actually what's happened now. The other thing that really pissed me off is these news reports of the students that have been told to isolate, acting like they've been put in some kind of prison situation, and they're hanging signs at their windows saying, help us, we are prisoners. You've been asked to quarantine for 14 fucking days. Not years, not weeks, 14 days you've been asked to just stay indoors to stop the spread, and they're carrying on like it's the worst thing on the planet they could have been asked to do. These people need to grow a set. These people need to realise there's a real world out there, and the world doesn't just revolve around them. This whole COVID thing is a bigger picture. Everyone needs to be kind of thinking of everyone else around them and not just themselves. They're sitting there putting posts up at the window, bring me beer and stuff like that. It's like, fuck off. You put yourself in this position in the first place. Don't expect sympathy. Now, some of these unis have put together care packages and they've been handing them out to these students, and then the students are coming back and moaning about what they've been given. They've been given this fucking stuff for nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they're moaning, saying, I don't like the flavour of the crisps, or I don't like this, or it doesn't suit my dietary requirements, and blah blah blah. You've got the fucking thing for nothing. If you don't like it, get on the phone and order shopping over the phone and get it delivered. You're allowed to do that. Or better still, the families of these people could do care packages for them. But the unis are giving these care packages to them for nothing. And these students are moaning and saying, I don't like this and I don't like that, and I'm a vegan and there wasn't enough vegan choices in there. You've just got to gut this out for 14 days. But you put yourself in this position in the first place. So if you didn't act like an irresponsible moron the minute you got to uni, you wouldn't have to do this. But you've only got to do it for 14 days and then you're fine. But no, they're carrying on like they're absolute victims. And then you've got people getting behind them saying, you've got to feel sorry for them. They've gone to uni and they can't do the usual uni things like get pissed and blah, blah, blah. Hang on a moment. You've got a grant, again, paid by the taxpayer, to go and study to get a degree. You haven't gone there for a piss up. You could have stayed at home and had piss ups at home and not got 10 grand of money from the government that comes from the taxpayer to just have a 2-year, 3-year piss up and do nothing. Universities aren't there so that people can have 2 years of riotous partying. It's meant to be there as education. It's meant to be there to further your education, to give yourself a degree, to improve yourself. So these people that are kind of saying, it's not fair that all the people before them are allowed to get pissed and they can't. The fucking fact of the matter is that's not what they're there for. And it really pisses me off. It really kind of winds me up when they're interviewing them on the TV and they're all crying out of their windows, come and save us, come and save us. Save you? You're not in any danger. You've got to do 14 days of isolation and that's it. After 14 days, you haven't got to stay in. And in this modern era now of in-house entertainment with your Netflix and what you can go on your tablet and watch, or your phone or your laptop, and you'd assume that these students that have gone to these universities with tablets and laptops and stuff like that, there's plenty of stuff to do to keep you occupied for 14 days indoors. So you're not that fucking bad off, really. There are families in this country, and from personal experience of having to deal with some of these people, that would be thankful for those care packages, no matter what was in them, because they're living hand to mouth day after day after day. And they're having to do it week after week after week. You've just got to muddle through for 14 days and you're acting like you're the victims in all this. So I've got very, very little sympathy. I've got sympathy for the people that turned up at uni to just crack on and get on with it and have just picked it up because of people walking around acting like morons. Yes, I have sympathy for those people, but the majority that took part in these mass gatherings and then spread it amongst themselves, I haven't got any sympathy for. It's not something you can really warrant getting behind them and saying, bless them, it must be awful being stuck in for 14 days. There were people during the height of this pandemic when we had lockdown that had to stay in their house and couldn't see anyone and no one could go and see them for 3 to 4 months. And these entitled twats are moaning about being stuck in for 14 days. It's fucking ridiculous. Don't feel sorry for them unless they were a victim of someone else's stupidity. That's the way I'm looking at this thing. In regards to where we're going now, I don't think we're going to end this earlier. I think it's going to drag on a lot longer because, as I say, we have got too many morons in this country that, one, think the whole thing's made up, or two, they don't like being told what to do. Or three, you've also got the ones that think that it's all about that they just want the government want to just spy on them. The government want to know what they're doing. There's 64 fucking million people in this country. You think the government want to know what each and every one of us are doing 24/7? Not being funny, Boris Johnson and his government don't give a shit what I'm doing now. They don't give a shit what you're doing now. So for people to kind of think they're that important, that the government are going out of their way to track them, fucking wake up. Take a step backwards and think about what you're saying. Also, the people that say the whole thing's fake, take a step backwards. If you've been in a lucky position that you've not known anyone that's caught it, and even more luckier position, you've not known anyone that's died from it, good for you. It doesn't mean it don't exist because no one in your family has died or you've not known anyone that's got it. It doesn't mean it don't exist. Otherwise, you could say that about everything. I could turn and say, well, I don't believe that the bubonic plague ever existed because I don't know anyone that died from it. That's what I mean. That's how stupid it is. So these people that jump on social media, like Facebook and that, printing these stupid fucking articles about it's all fake, it's all been made up. They need to fuck off now because it isn't made up. The fact that getting near to 45,000 people have died just in the UK alone, you can't fake that. You can't make 45,000 people disappear and say they died from something else when they died from something different, or just make these figures up, because there are people out there that have lost parents, grandparents, children, whatever. There are people out there. There have been some of the more responsible reporting in the press have actually reported people being treated in hospital. Unfortunately, a lot of the reporting, and it's still going on now, is so fucking irresponsible. It's just done to scare the shit out of people, and I don't see why that is their motivation to do their job, working for like the BBC and Sky, to scare people. What do you want to scare people for? Give people the facts, but give people bad facts and things that are bad that are going on, but balance it out with giving us positive stuff. They don't want to give us any positive stuff. They just want to go with the negative stuff and then expand on that and frighten people. And you know, there are people sitting at home absolutely petrified that don't need to be petrified. No, you need to be cautious. You need to kind of be a bit more considerate, but you don't need to be shit scared. But Sky and BBC are quite happy to fuel that. So when they want to start making news articles blaming the government for the upsurge in people's mental health going off the charts, BBC and Sky step up and take responsibility. It's you that could be affecting people's mental health because you're fucking scaring them. I get so pissed off, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a conservative voter on this. I'm just talking as a man that's watching what's going on. So many people, everything that goes wrong, it's the government's fault. It's the government's fault. It's not. It's all of our faults. It's all of our responsibility that when we're given guidelines or we're given guidance or we're given things to do, it's up to us to do it. If we don't do it and the thing blows up, that's not the government's fault. You can't have every member of the Conservative Party following everyone around, making sure they're doing what they should be doing. The onus is on us to be adults and not think because you're told to do something, act like a child and go, well, I'm not being told what to do, blah, 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 like you're some kind of like rebellious teenager. We're being asked to do these things for very, very valid reasons, with the most valid reason being other people don't die and you might not die. To me, that's the biggest incentive there is, to wear a face mask and be socially distant and be considerate for other people around me. That's the biggest incentive I need, that I can go towards less people dying and keeping myself healthy and my family healthy and all my friends around me healthy. That's the biggest incentive. I don't need another incentive other than that. If anyone's sitting at home thinking, I can't think of a single reason why I have to do what I'm told, then you're a fucking idiot then. But if you can't get that, it is so frustrating. My tip now would be, if someone or serial posters on your Facebook page or comes up on your Facebook timeline of all this, it's fake, I'm not going to be controlled, this is a controlling thing, this is a bigger picture thing, this is to stick microchips in the vaccine so we can all be you know, kind of monitored where we're going. If anyone on your timeline is posting this absolute shit, take them off. Just delete them off. And if they ask you why, say because you're a twat. I've already started doing it. There's a couple of people, I'm not going to name names, but there's a couple of people that keep popping up on my timeline spouting absolute bollocks. They're going, because you don't need that at the moment. What we need to be is all together, like we were kind of March, April, where everyone was considerate and looked out for each other. We need to go back to that. But unfortunately, we've got too many morons stopping that from happening. Hopefully, as the weeks and the months kick by, things will get better, and we can kind of get back to a little bit more of a normal thing. Kind of looking into past Christmas and the New Year, things might start getting a little less restricted. But at the moment, we just got to take what it is. We've got to take it all on the chin. You know, we're not being locked away. We're not being told you can't ever leave your house. We're not under the strict lockdown measures that we were earlier in the year. We're just being told, mind yourself when you go out. You can't go out as late. I mean, the thing with the 10 o'clock thing, I could totally get why you do that. Why it would be necessary to do that. Because there's a hope that people will go, well, if the pubs are shutting early, I won't stay out so late. I'll be a bit more responsible. People won't get so drunk, because the problem is once people get drunk, they forget about social distancing and what's going on around them, and that's what's caused the issues with these towns all in the north and the Midlands that have got big university campuses, where they done exactly that. They all got pissed, totally forgot about COVID, carried on like there was nothing wrong, and spread it like wildfire around them, and then it went outside of the campus into the city centres. So there's your proof there. If you want proof that this is real, take a look at Nottingham at the moment, absolutely getting ripped through with COVID at the moment. Take a look at Liverpool, that are going to go under really, really strict measures, that their pubs and bars and that all got to close totally again. So look at things like that and think to yourself, the government aren't going to do that and lose money from the businesses that can't operate, lose money from the breweries with the tax that they get from alcohol and selling alcohol. The government aren't going to do something that loses them money. They're not going to do anything that kills people deliberately. So anyone sitting there going, this is the government's way of controlling the population and blah, 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 you're a fucking idiot as well. Nothing more to add to that, to be honest. Hopefully, things will change and I can jump on here and moan about light-hearted things. But at the moment, these things keep cropping up and wind me up more than anything else. So hopefully we will meet again on this YouTube. Hopefully everyone's going to get through this. We will get through this. I'm convinced we will get through this. It's going to be hard. We're probably going to have an absolutely really, really hard winter through this, but we will get through it. And what we've got to do is not let the twats grind us down. Just carry on doing what we're all doing, because we're all capable of doing it. I can do it. I know most of the people watching this now that know me, and I know them, they're all doing what they need to do. They're not questioning it. They're just doing it because it's not a hardship what we're being asked to do. So goes without saying, I say this at the end of every video, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Please stay safe, stay healthy, look out for yourselves, look out for the people around you. We will talk again very, very soon. Thanks for taking time to watch this. Give it a like on Facebook, give us a follow on Facebook, spread the word, and as I say, stay safe and stay healthy. Peace out, my lovelies.